Good afternoon or good afternoon. This is Spirit Journey. Today is Thursday, August 22, 2019, and this is a live stream at 4:20 p.m. I hope you all are doing well. I think this is going to be another excellent show, and it's also going to be excellent because you are watching. So I encourage you all to just say a hello in our chat room. This chat room is for open communication to share your thoughts, your knowledge about the topic that I'm going to discuss, and there'll be no cursing or anything pejorative. This is to be a clean show, but it's going to be discussing about Jeffrey Epstein, and in particular about the teenage sex in pop culture in the movies, commercials, things like that. Hey, how you doing? Yes. In it to win it. Yes, greetings. I have a lot of different screens up in front of me. And so you'll see my head be moving back and forth. And so I have to remember like where my chat room box is, which is on this side where I'm facing right now. But yes, welcome. Yeah, this is going to be a wonderful show, and it's going to be wonderful because also you're here and participating. See, I learned in life that, life gets more exciting when you participate. You have people who could be passive but still active in their own way, and that's cool also. But I want to talk about my thoughts, and this is through a Black perspective. And this is going to be my third or fourth video on Jeffrey Epstein. But this video, this live stream, is also going to talk about teenage prostitution. And I was thinking about this whole thing. Yes, welcome visitors, welcome on to the show. Yes, I invite you also to just say hello in the chat room, because again, this is not going to be a passive watch. This is going to be active interactions with this live stream, because this is what makes it interesting, But yes, I welcome you all to invite your friends, family, because this is going to be a topic about Jeffrey Epstein, but not just about Jeffrey Epstein, but my thoughts about Jeffrey Epstein, the whole media aspect of Jeffrey Epstein. And I have been thinking about this particular topic that I'm going to discuss. And also, please let me know if you could hear me clearly. I want, because sometimes I may forget to press a particular button and it's accidentally on mute. So let me just say, yes, we can hear you. Or, if you see the screen freeze or buffer, things like that, let me know. Especially because I have a lot of things on the screen, because I want to share different information. This live stream is to be informative. And I was on the internet for several hours today, and the more information I found on the topic, the more it's really educating me. Again, I'm no expert. I'm just a lay person out there. I'm just a regular YouTuber. My background is I'm not like a professional reporter. I'm just, okay, thank you, Intuit, that the sound is good. Thank you for participating and letting me know that the audio is fine. I don't like when my audio is not working properly. And if anything happens, if anything with the sound is off, please let me know. So I have to remember to look on this side of the screen. Excuse me. Yes. So I've been following the story about Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, he passed away about a week and a half ago. he allegedly committed suicide in prison, in jail, while he was awaiting trial. And he was arrested for trafficking teens, or trafficking women and who were teens. And what else? That's basically what he was doing. And so he's known by a lot of well-connected people who are very rich, who are in the public, who are people in finance, business, politics, acting, all these different types of people, also royalty too. So this is not just someone who just is an accident. He's placed where he's placed for a reason, a purpose. And I was very agitated with the subject of Jeffrey Epstein as a woman, as someone who's from New York, and I found that he's from New York. And I just had a lot of thoughts and a lot of emotional conflict, because again, this channel's name is Spirit Journey, and all what I'm doing now and in my past videos is really about my awakening of being a very naive person to a person that is becoming awareness of who she is as a person, who I am historically, and just history in general, and living in New York City and all the lies and deceptions I was taught about myself being a black woman and about being a woman, all these falsehoods that I believed. And so now in my life as a grown woman, I'm coming to an awakening. And when you awaken, when you start to become more enlightened, like when you're in the dark for a long time and then you turn on that light, it's going to be a little shocking, right? Your eyes are going to hurt and squint, and then you slowly get adjusted, So that's where I am right now. So right now, like I'm keep rubbing my eyes in the spiritual sense, because my eyes are being irritated. It's being irritated because the light / awareness is coming to me. And so today I want to talk about different things that I started pondering about with Jeffrey Epstein. And I wanted to talk about this subject for a couple of days. And what I usually do, I get a little piece of paper and I write down like my little thoughts. Discuss about such and such. And this paper here, it's names of 3 people that were in Hollywood, as a reference for me to who I'm going to talk about. Okay, so let me know if do you understand what I'm saying out there? Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do, I want to share you this screen. Much of this conversation I'm going to do right now, I'm going to be showing you things on my monitor. So I'm going to share you my screen. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to share you my screen, and I'm going to begin with different terminologies. Okay. Okay. So just bear with me. I'm just toggling between different screens right now. Okay. I'm going to make this screen bigger so I could really navigate. Okay. Let me just see what it looks like on this screen here when I'm showing. Okay. Yeah, still navigating different screens here. Okay, the first thing I wanted to talk about is about, I wanted to start off with definitions. I think definitions are very important because I'm going to talk about what is this all about with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, what was he about? And so I'm going to present to you. Okay, the first thing I heard about Jeffrey Epstein is about human trafficking. Okay, this is what I found. Okay, human trafficking. Okay, this definition here says human trafficking is the trade of humans for the purpose of forced labor, sexual slavery, or commercial sexual exploitation for the trafficker or others. This may encompass providing a spouse in the context of forced marriage or the extraction of organs or tissues, including for surrogacy and ova removal. Wow. See, this is the first time I'm watching this. Okay, I'm going to build up to everything when I'm going to discuss, but I wanted to get definitions out the way so we're all on the same page. Okay. The next thing I wanted to find out, I looked at the word, what is sexual slavery? Okay, I thought that was important to find out. Okay, here's something here on sexual slavery. Sexual slavery, sexual exploitation is attaching the right of ownership over one or more persons with the intent of coercion or otherwise forcing them to engage in sexual activities. Okay. Okay, they're all different things about sexual slavery, things what people asked about. Okay. Okay, I'm just navigating to. Okay. Okay, they even have questions. How many girls are sex trafficked every year? Why are humans trafficked? Where does sex trafficking occur the most? That looks very interesting. Let's click on it and find out. Okay, in 2001, the United States Department estimated that 50,000 to 100,000 women and girls are trafficked each year into the United States. Here, that traffic into, that means they're coming from somewhere else into the United States. In 2003, the State Department report estimated that a total of 18,000 to 20,000 individuals were trafficked into the United States for either forced labor or sexual exploitation. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, let me look at this. Let me click on this here. And I hope you can see what's on my screen. Okay, where does sexual trafficking occur the most? Let me click on that. Okay. Okay, according to the National Human Trafficking Resource Center, roughly, 979,000 of the human trafficking cases reported by the state are from California, making it the most affected area in the United States. Wow. Wow. That is something else. So interesting about the border. See, I think some news that we hear, everything's interconnected. We're not separate unto ourselves. We're all interconnected. And for me to read that California has the most human trafficking. And here, President Trump wants to put up a wall. So I know a lot of people may say to themselves that, um, he's putting up a wall because he's a bigot or racist. But according to this, if 979,000 are being trafficked into, via most of it California, shouldn't he have some type of filtering out to stop this human trafficking? See, sometimes people may use the race card as a means to get what they really want. They want to bring in sex slavery, human trafficking, sexploitation, and they want you to just think, oh, he's just being a bigot. So let me bring in all these people through this border because it's close to Mexico, and so-and-so's a bigot against that nationality. So their intent may be, I cannot say what it is, but what it looks like to me, in my opinion, that they're using the race card to get their way, to get these people into the United States so that they could exploit them sexually and doing labor. And the biggest door of entry for these people are entry into California. Okay? Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Okay? Let me go on. Okay, the next thing I wanted to look up, when I'm looking up here, is, let's see. I'm looking at my monitor. I don't see anything moving. Let me see. Okay, it's just a delay on the screen. Okay, I was moving something, but I didn't see it move on the screen, so I wanted to make sure that it was okay. 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 The next thing was to look up the term slavery. See, I wanted to solidify what words mean. Okay, let me just try something else. Okay. So, slavery. Yeah, I want to ask you real quick, because see, I had the screen really big before, and with that, I can't see if anyone makes a writes in the chat room. If you can see the whole screen and me on the top left, I'll leave it as such. But I have right now the screen on small so I can see everything. So if it looks good right now, I'll leave it. Okay. So if it's fine, if you can see everything, I'll leave it as is. If it looks okay right now, I'm going to expand the window. And if it looks the same, let me know. Okay. So I have the screen on big right now. Okay, so the word slavery. What does that mean? Slavery. Okay. Okay, slavery. It says slavery is any system in which principles of property law are applied to people, allowing individuals to own, buy and sell other individuals as a de jure form of property. A slave is unable to withdraw unilaterally from such an arrangement and works without remuneration. Okay, I never heard that word, remuneration. Okay. There's other things here on the side here, on the left-hand side. It says, okay, the state of being a slave. These are different synonyms. Bondage, enslavement, servitude, subjugation, thrall, serfdom, yoke. Okay, let's see. The practice or system of owning slave, bondage, enslavement, servitude. Okay, the same thing. Drudgery, toil, hard labor, grind. Okay. Look here what I found here. What are the 4 types of slavery? Well, that's new to me. Let's take a look. Oh, wow. Look at this. I hope you can see this here. Okay, types of slavery. Okay. Okay. Yes, types of slavery. Sex trafficking, the manipulation, coercion, or control of an adult, hear that? Of an adult engaging in a commercial sex act. Very interesting. Okay, the next one, it says child sex trafficking, forced labor, forced child labor, bonded labor or debt bondage, domestic servitude, unlawful recruitment and use of child soldiers. Wow. Okay. Oh, let's see this. What is the legal definition of slavery? Slavery law and legal definition. Okay. A slave is a person owned by someone, and slavery is the state of being under the control of someone, where a person is forced to work for another. A slave is considered as a property of another, as the one controlling them purchased them or owns them from their birth. Okay. Okay, let me go on to the next tab here. See, it's very important to get terminology so we all understand in the media and the words that are being flung around. That's why I'm showing this. Okay, prostitution. Okay. Prostitution, according to this, it says, let's see, prostitution is the business or practice of engaging in sexual activity in exchange for payment. Prostitution is sometimes described as sexual services, commercial sex, or colloquially hooking. It is sometimes referred to euphemistically as the world's oldest profession, okay, etc. Okay. So I think it's interesting here with this definition, again, just on this page, what the definition is. It's an exchange for payment. So it's assumed that the person who's doing the prostitution is being paid. All these girls that I'm going to be talking about, or with the Epstein, were they ever paid? It's just a question. Okay, anything else that might be interesting here? No. Can you go to jail for prostitution? Well, we all know that. Okay, this is interesting. What are prostitutes called? Okay. Prostitution is sometimes called the oldest profession or oldest occupation. A female prostitute is sometimes called a hooker, whore, or hoe. A male prostitute is sometimes called a gigolo. They can both be called a street walker, sex worker, or escort. Okay, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Let me go on to the next tab here. Okay, I have the term pimp. Okay, I hope you can see the whole screen here. Okay, prostitution. Okay, I have here on the side. I hope you can see the picture. There's a picture of two men and a lady on the top right, right next to the word procuring. So I hope you can see that. Okay, procuring pimp. Okay, the term pimp, also called procuring. Okay, procuring or pandering is the facilitation or provision of a prostitute or sex worker in the arrangement of a sex act with a customer. A procurer, colloquially called a pimp or a madam, is an agent for prostitutes who collects part of their earnings. Now, it's going to be very interesting whether or not these ladies ever received parts of their earning. It'd be very interesting. And how much did they get paid? And how much did he take? That would be very interesting to find out. Again, I don't know, and it'll be interesting to find out. But I do not have that information. And I'm just reading this also for the first time. So I didn't know that a pimp is also known as a procurer. Okay? And here on the left, the term, it says, a man who controls prostitutes and arranges clients for them, taking part of their earnings in return. Okay. But why, in my opinion, why does it seem like he's not really acting like an agent? You know, when I hear the word agent, I think of someone who wants to go into Hollywood, movies, and they get an agent to represent them, and the agent gets a part, and then the client, the person who wants to be in that business, they get a portion. Why in my mind, why am I thinking that the prostitute gets a fragment for every dollar? That's just my opinion. Okay, it's just something that says that to me. The word pimp could be used as a verb here. Acts as a pimp. And an example is, he was a good-looking guy, and some said he pimped on the side. Okay, isn't that interesting? Okay, pimp also could mean, informal. Make something more showy or impressive. An example, he pimped up the car with spoilers and twin-spoke 18-inch alloys. Interesting. Okay, so this is pop culture. Okay. And I'm just scrolling down. And look who you see here as a pimp. I hope you can see it on the screen. Okay, videos. 50 Cent, PIMP, Snoop Dogg remix. Okay, you have Pimp official trailer, 2018. Interesting. You see that? Who do you see? What race are these people that you see? What race do you see? Okay, I see black people. Okay? That's who I see out there, who's the pimp. The small screen is better. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. I got you. I'm sorry. In it to win it. Yeah. So I made the screen small. I didn't see your response right away. Something was blocking, and then I'm glad I rechecked. Yeah, 'cause I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 different screens. different things. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it small like this. Okay. In it to win, it says he's an agent because he takes care of all legal matters if she's arrested, takes care of all financial situations. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Okay. Boy, I feel bad that this I had the screen too big. So, okay. So it is what it is. Let me go on though. Okay, I'm going to go on the next screen here. Okay. This is Jeffrey Epstein, for those of you who don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is. So I gave, yes, thanks that you understand. And now what you see on the screen here, you see Jeffrey Epstein and what this person looks like. Now, with the definitions I gave, and I just gave a definition about what is a pimp, what is a prostitute, sex slavery, slave, etc. But how many people have seen over the media ever said that this man here, Jeffrey Epstein, the face that you see on the left, okay, how many of you have ever hearing he was called a pimp? Okay, let me see what else here on this screen. Okay, there's more pictures of him. And there was something I wanted to share. Okay, maybe, okay. Jeffrey Epstein, let me read this. Okay. Jeffrey Edwards Epstein was an American financier and convicted sex offender. Epstein began his professional life as a teacher. Okay, now I have to interrupt a little bit. He never got a teacher's license. Okay, I have to add that. He's from New York City like I am, and where I still am. He never had a teacher's license, nor did he study teaching. But yet in this explanation about him, it says that his professional life he began his professional life as a teacher. So how could he be a teacher? It was said that he taught something with science. I think, I can't remember. But I think he taught 2 subjects that were in the science field. Okay, I read on. Then changing to the banking and finance sector in various roles. Okay, they have to really explain that. What role? During his financial career, he became a multimillionaire. Okay, that's the official. Okay, as you see here, I'm just scrolling up. It said he's born in January 20, 1953 in Brooklyn. Okay, he died in jail recently on August 10th of this year. Okay, he has many different residences. Okay, here. Education, the Cooper Union, that is a college. That's a very prestigious college. It used to be tuition free and you just pay for your books. Yeah, it's a school of engineering. And so he had to have some brains to get in that school. Okay, and why did he didn't finish? Oh wow, I see here he has a sibling. I didn't know that, but as you see here, he has a sibling called Mark Epstein. Very interesting. Okay, this is a Wikipedia. Okay, according to Wikipedia, okay, again, it uses the term was an American financier and convicted sex offender, etc. Oh, that's the same thing. Okay, so they just repeated the same thing. Okay, and I found that troubling. Let me see anything else interesting. Okay, no, there wasn't anything else here. It was just showing you who Jeffrey Epstein's, what he looked like, and a brief explanation of what they say he is. Okay. Oops. Boy, I can't stand to have these things, pop-ups. Okay, let me get that. Okay. Okay, let me just go from the beginning up here. Okay, now this is again a picture of Jeffrey Epstein. Let's see what the headline. Okay, this is from The Guardian. Okay, let me see the date. Okay, I don't see a date on it, but I think it's pretty recent. Okay, yeah. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein's will set up trust fund. I'm sorry, Jeffrey Epstein's will set up trust fund to shield, get this, 577 million fortune days before death. Very interesting. So I wanted to share this because again, they keep using the term, in this case here, the will that disgraced financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, okay, etc. So they keep using the term that he's a financier, and why they call him a financier, I don't know why. So it's building up a picture. They never once used the term pimp. And let me go back to, okay, I already said for pimp, a man who controls prostitutes and arranges clients for them, taking part of their earnings in return. So why aren't they using that term when addressing him? Okay, but they call him a financier. So I'm asking, well, why do they use this? See, they want, again, as I said, they want to create an image, a persona of this pimp. But when they have, let me see him. Let me see. But then when you go, no, you don't. I'm sorry, those are my dogs. When someone makes noise outside, I live in an apartment building, they get a little excited. My apologies. Okay. But see, when you just type in the general term pimp, they designate that term pimp for black people, black men. See that? And I'm going to show you something else. I'm just making, I'm building up my case here. Okay, that's Epstein. Okay, he's a pimp. And they call him a financier. Okay, this is basically saying the same thing. I wanted to get more than one. Okay, I showed that already. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's the same thing I showed you guys. Yes, I showed you that already. Okay, let me go on the next page. Okay, so here in this page, I hope I'm making myself clear. I'm just trying to build up understanding with terminologies that's being thrown out there. Okay, now this page here, I Googled the term, as you see here, well-known American financiers. Yes, in it to win it. Yes, it's all propaganda. It's making you think a certain way, a certain way about people who do certain things, good or bad. They're creating a visual and an emotional hearing on an individual or a topic. So with Epstein, they're creating the veneer of someone who is educated, Said he was a teacher. He was not a teacher. You cannot call yourself something that you don't have a license for. He might have gotten a job as a teacher, to do teaching, but he was not a teacher, because that is a licensed profession here in New York City. You need a license to practice, to be a teacher in New York City. Also, as a side note, where he taught at was a private institution. And I'm wondering why was he brought there? Why was he recruited to work there? He did not have a teacher's license, nor did he study teaching. He was a science major at Cooper Union, and a school for engineering and architecture. Okay. And in private schools, they can hire people without licenses because it's a private institution. Okay, in it to win it says pimps, prostitutes, drug dealers, etc. Yes. Oh, okay, I'm seeing something else that someone added. King Ryan is saying he's in Palestine. And yes, in it to win it says the media portrays us like that, referring to that, black people, that blacks are pimps. But I showed you the terminology, folks. I explained what a pimp was and other euphemisms for the term pimp, but they never address it. Now, you have a lot of people who start college and don't finish. You have black people in New York City who start college and they don't finish, and they may go into something questionable, and they're thrown terminology that's being used to make them look unflattering. See, even in all this mess with Jeffrey Epstein, he still is portrayed as something glamorous, a glamorous slime bucket. Okay, let me get some water. Sorry. So these are some of the, excuse me, I typed in well-known American financiers. Okay. Warren Buffett, Bernard Baruch, because they have a college in his name. George Soros, Bernie Madoff. Yeah, Bernie Madoff, he's the individual who he had a Ponzi scheme, and he had the most, he's noted for stealing the most money in history with his Ponzi scam. Okay? But you see what they look like, these men. And some of these people have infamous pasts. You see that? Wouldn't it be interesting? See that? I want to show you what these financiers, it's also with these financiers, they all have on suits and ties. What does the suit and tie, how does that come across to you? Okay, I won't even go back there, but these are more modern people here. See that? What are most of them? Well, all of them are men that they're showing here. All of them are a particular race. And many of them are, if you find out what their practice is, it's probably also a similar practice. Okay? So these are just things that, common threads that what financiers tend to be. They tend to look like people like this. But as we learned that people with this terminology called financiers, but he's a so-called financier, but what did I say what he is? What the terminology is? He's this. Okay? Pimp. A man who controls prostitutes and arranges clients for them, taking part of their earnings in return. He serves as an agent. Remember that? Procuring or pandering is the facilitation of provision of a prostitute or sex worker, etc. I remember they use the term agent. Yeah. We go on. Okay? So isn't the picture slowly dissolving? See, these guys are wearing a suit and tie. So when you call someone a financier, and let's say you do a word search like I just did on financiers in the United States, and this is the image you get. Now, are these images that is associated with teenage prostitution or trafficking of young girls? Do you get that impression? Let's say someone never heard of the word financier. He said, what's a financier? And they do what I did. Well-known American financiers. And this is what they get. And you think, well, what's wrong with being a financier? But see, this is all lies. This is all part of the veneer. Okay? So I'm just strolling down this page. And I'm exploring this also for the, really the first time. Okay, here this information says, list of famous financiers. Warren Buffett. Warren Edward Buffett is an American business, blah, blah, blah. George Soros, okay, Hungarian-born American business magnate, investor, hear that term, philanthropist. Didn't they say that Jeffrey Epstein was a philanthropist? See, I'm using these terms, but these terms I'm learning in this awakening are euphemisms. They're not real terms. See, on the surface, it's a veneer of goodwill. They're not showing goodwill. Okay, so what does investors do? They invest. They take something that they have and they put money and time into something in hopes that it will grow, right? When someone is an investor, is in the hopes that the seeds that are planted, the nurturing, that it'll grow, multiply. Well, what's multiplying for Jeffrey Epstein? Okay? And they use the term a lot. Philanthropist. He gave money. So I was trying to find out what money. That's also why I did this search about financiers. Because I wanted to find out, well, what is he financing? Okay. Okay, that's all I'm going to read on this page here. Okay. That's all. I just wanted you to get an idea what the term, what does a financiers look like. Okay, this one I did famous pimps. You see that on the top? Famous pimps. And this is what I get. Okay. Okay, America's most notorious pimps and madams. Again, a madam is a female pimp. These are some of the names. And some of them I've never heard of. Kristen Davis, Jean-Pierre Hollander. See how they look like? Look at them. They have their hair all nice. They have makeup and jewelry on. See that? Okay, Jesse Williams. That name sounds familiar. Bobby Davis. Iceberg Slim. Deborah Jean Palfrey. Okay. Interesting, isn't that? Let's see what this says. America's most notorious pimps and madam, business pundit. Let's see. Okay, they give names. Okay, that's the same thing basically. How much do they? Oh, let's look at this. I'm curious. How much does the average pimp make? Let's take a look, folks. Pimps and traffickers rake in between $5,000 and $32,833 per week. Per week, employing an average of 5 sex workers at a time, with a high rate of turnover. Get that? That's a clue to all this stuff on human trafficking. There's a high turnover rate. Why is it a high turnover rate? Why is this? Because many of these women might be getting killed in what they call snuff films. Snuff films are films that portray people being tortured and killed on tape. And you have a market of people who like grisly stuff like that, and it's a lot of money for it. And if you can sell it, so this could be, I mean, I'm not saying that every individual that gets into the sex work are in snuff films, but that's where some of them go. They die off that way. Maybe some of them do drugs, or some are killed by their John. A John is a person who buys their time with the prostitute, who has sex with the prostitute, or whatever what he's paying for that person. That is called a John, okay? John, John. I don't know where the term comes from, but maybe I should do a search for that also. So if any of you know where that term John came from, in referring to a man who, a person who has sex with a prostitute, or buys for prostitution, let me know. You can share that in the in the chat box, chat room, I should say. Okay, so I think that's really telling that it is has a high turnover rate. I also want to add in this, okay, what I want to add in all this, I used to live in St. Thomas. That is in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I lived there from 1990 to 1993. And I don't remember why the conversation started, but I was talking to a police officer there. He was a black West Indian police officer on St. Thomas, which is part of the U.S. Virgin Islands. And he told me that there is sex traffickers being sent there. They're being brought in by boat. And at that time, they were getting the prostitutes, at least then, or for that clientele, from the Dominican Republic. That's on another Caribbean island that is west of St. Thomas, okay? And they said that they only last a very short while, and then they have to ship them out. So he's confirming it has a high turnover rate. Prostitutes don't last long. When they're being sent over or trafficked into a region, it's for a short season, because the burnout or their demise happens quickly. Okay, it's not a glamorous industry. It's not a glamorous business. So those people who are listening and think that it's all glamorous to be a call girl, prostitute, or to get into modeling / you know what? It's not glamorous, and it's exploiting you. And you probably just get a penny for every dollar that is made. Okay, it's a high turnover rate. I want to emphasize that. High turnover rate, because you burn out. Okay, I want to show you the next window here. Okay, this is a window here. Okay, I in the beginning of my search for about this whole thing on sex trafficking, I was just typing in just keywords, human trafficking. Okay, and as you see there, you see the term, human trafficking and sex trade films. Okay? And I was just curious what was out there. So, what you see here, okay, this is a 2004 film. It's called Fields of Mudan. A young Asian girl, Mudan, is forced into modern-day slavery by a brutal child brothel owner. Okay, a brothel is a place of prostitution. So this 2004 movie is featuring a young girl, a minor, who is a prostitute. Okay, this is a little girl. She looks about maybe 7 years old, would you say? Right? But see, look, what this film, in this description, what it's not saying. What is this? What is this girl, Mudan? This is pedophilia. See, we're not using the term what it is. When you're a minor like that, this is a little baby girl. This is a little girl who should be at home playing with dolls, going to school, learning her alphabet, right? It's an Asian girl. And she's being groomed to work in a brothel. What is a brothel? A brothel is a house of prostitution. This little girl is going to have some man have sex with her. That is what it is. So, when you're a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, and doing this sex work, you're not a prostitute. You are being involved, you're being abused, you're being raped, and this is pedophilia. So this movie is about pedophilia, but they don't use that term pedophilia because it's too offensive. It's too offensive, right? You say it's about prostitution in Asia. No, it's about pedophilia. See, all these things that I talked about so far uses terminologies, and it's creating a veneer that it's okay. It's not okay. See, if the media used to term pedophilia, it's going to have, look at this. This is the next movie I found. Eden. Okay, this is a 2012 film. A young Korean American girl abducted and forced into prostitution by domestic human traffickers cooperates with her captors in a desperate ploy to survive. See that? These are all fantasy films. Fantasy to feed perverts. These are perverts. It doesn't say how old she is, but I would tend to think she's underage. Wouldn't you? Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, this one, they give the age. This is a 2006 film called Holly. Okay, in Cambodia. See that? You notice? It just came to me. The first top movies, they're all Asian girls. East Asian or Southeast Asian girls. Okay, this is a 2006 film. In Cambodia, Holly, a 12-year-old Vietnamese girl, encounters Patrick, an American stolen artifacts dealer. The story follows their strong connection and her unrelenting efforts to escape her fate. This is pedophilia. You're 12 years old and someone's having sex with you? Hello? Okay? 12 years old. I didn't have my period yet at 12 years old. And this girl in this movie, okay? So what is this movie really about? Pedophilia. But it's okay because these are just Asian girls. Little Asian girls that look so young for their age anyhow. Oh, it's just okay. They're just Asian girls. No, they're not just Asian girls. They're human beings. And they're being exploited sexually by big people who should know better. Okay, this movie, Human Trafficking, 2005. Okay, this one they say women. They use the term women. Hundreds of thousands of young women have vanished from their everyday lives, forced by violence into a hellish existence of brutality and prostitution. They're a profitable commodity in the, okay, etc. Okay, they use the term young women. They don't say how young these women are. See, to be called a woman, you have to be a certain age. So if you're 18 and over, you're considered a woman by law. Okay. A 1996 film, The Promise. Okay, it's about undocumented immigrants. Look at this one, Lilia Forever, 2002. 16-year-old Lilia and her only friend, the young boy Volodya, live in Estonia, fantasizing about a better life. One day, Lilia falls in love with Andre, who is going to Sweden, and invites Lilia to come along and start a new life. Look at that. So, what is this about? Well, if she's 16 years old, that's a minor. And wouldn't that be considered pedophilia, like Jeffrey Epstein? Because remember the girl that the focal point of his arrest was she, in that photograph of her, she was 17 at the time. And that photo that they have of him with his arm around her waist, was entrapping to him because the girl's a minor. So in that photo with Epstein with a 17-year-old, which was damning to him, which helped him get arrested. So look at this movie about Lilia. She's 16 years old. Okay, so it's sexualizing and making it seem okay. Right? But isn't this not pedophilia? Let's go on. Okay, this one, girls. 4 girls tempted by the money that can be earned in prostitution meet men on paid dates in Hong Kong, etc. Okay, I don't know how old these girls, but they say girls. So there's probably minors. So again, pedophilia, etc. There's a lot of them. Okay, this one, Red Light. A powerful feature documentary about child sexploitation and epidemic happening in every country around the world, filmed over a 4-year period. Red Light focuses on the personal stories, etc. Okay, this is 2009. Wow. So what I'm getting at here is that it's not something that's hidden, really. It's out there in the media, movies, and you can see that there's a whole movie list of things, topics that you can get and buy. Okay, Sex Traffic, 2004 movie. Okay, Silent Cargo. Okay, illegal immigrants are smuggled across the ocean in a shipping container trapped in a container 3 weeks longer than expected. Most have died, leaving only 4 survivors with, wow, that's something. Yeah, so many people who are being shipped here aren't even living. They die. Interesting. See, I'm watching this for the first time with you. I did my Google search and I put up the different tabs I knew I want to discuss. And so I'm discussing it now. See that? They have some, 2007 film called The Jammed. Okay, again, a thriller about trafficking, governmental deportation, and the sex slave trade in Melbourne. Okay, Melbourne is in Australia. Okay, so you have sex trading in, to Australia. Okay, and looks of this photo, for this movie, that's an Asian girl. And these two look like regular white girls. Okay, so you have Asia and Europeans being shipped over to faraway places like Australia. So what I'm getting at, that this is extensive. This is across the whole planet. This is not a new topic. Look at this. The Whistleblower, a drama based on the experiences of Catherine Bolkovac, a Nebraska cop who served as a peacekeeper in post-war Bosnia and outed in the UN for covering up a sex trafficking scandal. Wow. See that? So people are trying to get the message out. So here in this movie, she was outed. She was out of the UN. So they're telling you, the UN, the United Nations, is supposed to represent the planet, most of the people of the planet, or I should say the governments of the planet for, freedom and fairness. They probably know about it, but how come they're not addressing the issue? See that? I should buy this movie. I'd be interested to watch it. I never even heard of this movie. And that's 2010. Okay, I was in school at that time. So I was focused on my schoolwork. Okay, Trade of Innocence, 2012. A couple grieving the loss of their own daughter sent out to rescue young girls sold into the sex slave trade. Another, see that? Careless Love, 2012. Vietnamese Australian, okay. So that still looks like a young girl. Okay, that's a university student, so you assume that she's at least 18. But these are young people. Okay, look at this. Gardens of Night. After being abducted as children and suffering years of abuse, a teenage boy and girl find themselves living on the street. Okay. So when they abduct children, what they're going to use them for. It's awful. Absolutely awful. Okay. So I just wanted to share that. Okay, let me show the next. So my next question on this, I wanted to find out how old. I wrote as you can see here, the question. Let me see if I can scroll it down. Okay, won't scroll down. Okay, what is the average age of becoming a prostitute? I write. Okay. Let's see here. The average age of entry myth. Let's see. A link between prostitute's age and her income. That's interesting. Let's see. Let me click on this. I'm curious. Oh, and here's something else here. Is the average age of entry into sex trafficking between 12 and 14? Should click on. Let me click on this one first. Okay, the average age of entry into prostitution is not 13. Okay, let's find out together. Okay, let me know if you can hear me and if everything is being clear. I want to be understood. Okay, let's read what it says here. Okay, this is dated 2010. Okay, this looks like, let's see, over the last several years I have been trying to correct the inaccurate notion that the average age of entry into prostitution is 13, wherever I see it, but it is becoming increasingly overwhelming. This figure is in newspapers, official reports, etc. Let me see, what age do they say? Okay, I'm just trying to look here. Okay, here's the, okay, they give an example and they use the term 13. But let's see if they say, okay, Department of Justice, what they say. Okay, 11 and 12. 11 through 13. 12 through 14. Okay, let me read on. But as the title suggests, this study only surveys minors, children, which means it does not include anyone who entered into prostitution at age 18 or over, or those who enter as a minor, etc. Okay, here this is the average age of death would be somewhere near 10 and 12. Okay, I'm not sure what they're getting at here. Okay, let me try the other page. Let me go back. Okay, let me click on what this says. Okay, I'm learning also with you guys. Okay, it says studies show the average age of entry into prostitution is 12 to 14 years old, according to this person here. And they ask it, is that? Okay, let's say what the statistics, according to this page. Statistics about sex trafficking, especially about minors, are notoriously difficult to document. For example, this newspaper once tried to show whether Portland is the child sex trafficking hub that elected officials and national media say it is, only to find that nobody really knew. So it seems to be evasive about what age. Because again, a lot of things are hush-hush. Let's see what this says. McKeel told columnists, blah, 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 that the average age of entry into the sex trade industry is 12 to 14. It's not the first time McKeel has cited the statistic. In a 2010 guest column about at-risk girls, she also wrote that studies show the average age of entry into prostitution is 12 to 14 years old. Okay, I'm not going to read any more about that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it all seems to be that age bracket that when you look at the numbers here. 11, 13, 12, 14. Okay. So it's still young. It's on the onset of puberty, you know, when you start to be sexually mature, when you start to get your period. Okay, those are the ages that women start their first menses around, between the ages of 12 through 14. Okay, now this page here, now about 2 years ago, I was introduced to a topic called super soldiers, and why did I start? Okay, first is for my lab victims. Well, my lab. Okay, my lab, it stands for, let me see if it has it here. It stands for military abductions. Okay, it's a genre out there. You have people that share the stories about that they were kidnapped as little children and that they were brought into some type of institution. It's a like a military base, and they were experimented on and trauma. And I was curious about what age, because see, I think it's all related. So whether you're being trafficked directly for the sex industry, but now you have a genre out there, my labs, this word is pronounced my labs. Some people pronounce it millabs. Okay, but let's see what it says about my labs. Let's see here. Let me see. Oh, let's look at this. I'm going to click on this. Come on. It's not opening. Let me try. Okay, won't open. Let me see. Let me try one more time. Okay, not secure. Okay, I'm not gonna. Okay. Okay, again, these aren't like, again, these are sites I'm just finding for the first time with you as I go through these terminology. Okay, is the military abductees? Okay, different questions. Let's see. Introduction. MILAB stands for military abduction. The phenomenon was first investigated by Dr. Helmut Lammer of the Austrian Space Research Institute. In a number of cases, abductees are subsequently abducted by humans in military uniforms. For this reason, Melinda Leslie, okay, she's on YouTube also. I've seen some of her videos. Melinda Leslie started calling them reabs for re-abductions. Nearly always unmarked helicopters are involved. The victims are usually drugged or sometimes disoriented by a strong electromagnetic field. During their military abductions, most of them receive an implant, and there is a YouTuber that discussed about their implants. Okay, I'll read on. Usually behind the ear. Now, I met someone, interesting, it says that. A couple of years ago, when I first was becoming awakened, my paradigm shift got awakened December of 2014, and by 2015 I was in a haze, and I started to openly investigate these different genres to help understand the reality I was living and to understand about the things I experienced. Okay, and so in 2015 I went to the bookstore and I told the person in the bookstore, please show me your I said the term metaphysics, I think. And so we don't have a metaphysics, but we got a such and such. I said, okay, show me. And they bring me over and they said, any particular author? And I just said at the top of my head, David Icke. And so she pointed and she left. And immediately after the lady left, a man approached me. It was a black man. And he said, when you said the term David Icke, I knew I could trust you. And I want to show you something. And he put his ear back like that. And he had an implant. He had something looked like the size of a grain of rice behind, underneath his skin, so you could see the outline. And yes, as it says here, usually behind the ear. And I saw this. This was in 2015, around April of 2015, I think it was. Okay, I'll read on. My labs seem to be part of a wider operation. Hear that? It's part of a wider operation aimed at monitoring and abductees in order to keep a lid on the alien abduction phenomenon, etc. So again, I just wanted to give you background information about people who are into this genre. And again, the My Labs, you often hear the term super soldier because some of them are being groomed to become, let me see anything here about super soldier. Okay. No, I don't see that. But with this is connecting ETs and people. But actually, it's the military people, meaning humans, taking people. And as you see here, was on the top. Okay, this person I think said they were a child. Let me see here. Oh, where it goes. There was something that they were a child. Okay, I can't find it now, but we saw that it said something about they were just a child when they first. Okay, during. Let's see. Oh, I can't find it now, but yeah, they start out as children. Let me go back. Okay, let's read this now. I hope I'm not getting you lost here. Wow. Boy, that thing started rolling. That wasn't me. I hope this doesn't have a virus. You saw that? It was rolling like that? I just clicked on it. Okay. Okay, that's a chat room, it looks like. I didn't know what that was. But here, in this thing here, okay, facilities between ages 6 and 8 years of age here that you read. Okay. I hope I don't get a virus with that. Yeah, I just want to see if anybody mentioned about the age. Let me see here. I don't see anything here about the ages of them, but I also discuss about this super soldier genre. Let's see. Let me go back. Yeah, I also am including this. See, last year in February, I had the opportunity to interview an individual, a man. His name is Tony Rodriguez. And he said he was kidnapped at the age of, I think he said 9 years of age. Okay, he's only 9 years old. And you can see this video on my channel. You just type in you go to my channel and you type in a search, Tony Rodriguez, and that's spelled with an S at the end, S as in Sam. Okay, and you can see it's almost a 4-hour video that I did with him. I had one interview with him, and we talk about his experience. And he was enslaved. He was kidnapped. And then he was raped. And then once he reached a certain age when he wasn't good for the sex, then they sold him allegedly to outer space programs. So according to this person, Tony Rodriguez, that I interviewed last year in April, that's 2018, February 2018, here he shared with me that he was raped, molested, given drugs, tortured, and then also enslaved to work on, according to him, on spacecraft, spaceships, and that they had sent him, and they have a slave colony working, according to him, on the moon and Mars and Ceres. Okay, so this is hush hush. So some of the things that you're hearing in the media, I'm wondering whether with Jeffrey Epstein, whether what's being discussed really something to hide the real issue, the secret space program. And again, according to President Trump, he mentioned that he's going to start a space force. I think it's going to be operational in 2 years. So again, that's 2021. So here you have people who claim to be getting kidnapped and then being sent to other colonies on other planets and being used in sex work. Yeah, so I invite you all to even look at that video, that interview that I did with Tony Rodriguez and him being a slave. He said specifically that he was enslaved, and that's why I interviewed him. Okay, he's a white fellow of Portuguese ancestry, and I wanted to get a perspective of modern day slavery from a white person and what happened to them. Okay, it's very compelling, his story. Okay, let me see here. Okay, now this is important. See, this is also to let you know that, and I hope you guys are still here with me. Let me see here. So I'm just moving something here. Okay, excuse me. Okay. So as you see here, this is entitled Franklin Child Prostitution Ring Allegations. Okay, I heard about this story maybe 2 years ago, and I was really shocked. See, this is all about letting you know that having these adults who have sex with children or teenagers is not new, but it's just now being broadcast through Jeffrey Epstein. And in my opinion, and it's whether you like him or not, but I feel the only reason why it's being discussed is because of election year coming up, and that you have people who are against each other in politics. And because Jeffrey Epstein knew a lot of influential people, they want to try to remove their political enemies. And that's the only reason why it's being brought up, in my opinion. Okay, this is just my opinion about it. And it's sad because that these are important subjects. And it shouldn't be important just because election year is around the corner, but that this is an epidemic that's worldwide, and it's not being corrected. It's not being really exposed by imprisonment. And so I think Jeffrey Epstein, the past few years, and again, I just recently heard of Jeffrey Epstein only this year. Okay? So why is this again? Well, I think it's because election year, and you have the Clintons who wanted to get into, back in office again. And then you have our current president who's in office. And people wanted to prevent either side from getting in. And Jeffrey Epstein knew these individuals. And I think, in my opinion, that's the only reason why it's being publicized. And here that Jeffrey Epstein, they couldn't even secure him in jail, and that he's allegedly dead from, suicide, according to the media. Again, I don't know whether that's true or not. But either way, the media and the general consensus is that he committed suicide or was suicided, and now he cannot, they can't press charges on him. So these poor victims, many of them women, most of them I think are women, and so they don't get their day in court. So all these people want to entrap, and have Jeffrey Epstein prosecuted they couldn't keep him alive enough in order for those girls to get their day in court. So it really shows me how selfish this society is. And everything, all these stories regarding his alleged death is really problematic. Okay, so let me read on with this Franklin child prostitution ring. Okay, this story here, it's on YouTube also. It's real seedy. This one, they actually use a lot of boys, young boys that are in like foster care. Let me read it to you. Okay, the Franklin child prostitution ring allegations began June 1988 in Omaha, Nebraska, and attracted significant public and political interest until late 1990, when separate state and federal grand juries concluded that the allegations were unfounded and the ring was a carefully crafted hoax. Wow. Wow. See, that I didn't know, that it was touted as a hoax, a carefully crafted hoax. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So here, okay, so as you see, in 1988, it was a big scandal, and it's a place called Boys Town. Boys Town, I think also in Nebraska. It was a whole town. I think it was a school or something, but it's just for young boys. And these people, these boys, were being raped. Yes, boys could be raped. And you have these officials, people in government. And you even had, I'm going to say it, you even had a black dude who worked in the, he did something with government, something, or some liaison, and he was used at this time to bring boys over to this place in Nebraska. And I think he was also homosexual as well, homosexual slash, involved with this boy trafficking. And these boys were to have sex with the people in the White House. I kid you not. And they interviewed some of them. It was really sad when you see the young boys, and they start out real young, and then they get a little older, and they burn out. Yeah. So this is a whole story. Okay. And it said, look here, a child prostitution ring. Yeah. See that? Who claimed that children in foster care were flown to the East Coast of the United States to be sexually abused at bad parties, etc. Yeah. Okay? So you can just look at that, type in, the term, Franklin, Franklin, it's also known as the Franklin cover-up. Okay, so let me go. So it's no hidden stuff about prostitution, using girls and, as you say, boys too, in prostitution. So it's not new. Okay, now I want to talk about about sex trafficking in movies. And these are movies that I knew about growing up. And these movies, I'm going to feature 3 movies. I mean, I'm not going to play anything, but just show you the tabs that I have on this. And these were the 3 or 4 movies that, before I started doing this video, what I was going to consider about talking about with regard to this pop culture. Okay? And the first movie that you see here is called Taxi Driver. Okay, and as you see here, it's a movie that came out in 1976. So I never saw this movie. Okay, but it features a famous. Okay, let me show you who's featured in it. Jodie Foster. Okay? We're the same age. Me and Jodie Foster. Okay? So that's Jodie Foster. And I remember as a girl that, like, she was about maybe 14. Let's see. Okay, it came out in 76. Yes, I was 13 when the movie came out. And you know, when you make a movie, it takes about 2 years to make. So she might have been 11 when she got recruited to do the movie. Okay? So this came out when I was 13. Okay? And it's about a child prostitute. And I'm looking for one of the posters. Okay, what is this about? It says. I didn't know the details what it's about, but something. Okay, let's see here. Set in a decaying and morally bankrupt New York City following the Vietnam War, the film tells the story of a lonely veteran working as a taxi driver who descends into insanity as he plots to assassinate both the presidential candidate for whom the woman he is infatuated with works, and the pimp, okay, of an underage prostitute he befriends. Okay? So why isn't this movie about pedophilia? This movie, when I was a young girl, I was a little girl, 13 years old. Let me see here. There's a poster. Let me see if I can find the poster. Let me see. Let me click on this. That's not the movie. No, let me click on that. I'm going to type in the word. Let me try something here. So I want to show you the picture that they showed when I was growing up, what the advertisement looked like. The advertisement did not look like the picture that you see of the man standing there. No. Let me see, taxi driver poster. Let me see the word poster. Poster with Jodie Foster. Okay, let me see. I hope it shows the one that I saw. That's okay. That's what I saw. Okay. So when I was growing up, when the movie came out, this is what they showed, and it showed her. There was a taxi behind her. Okay, let me see if the other thing, let me see. See, another picture. Okay, this might have been the one I saw, because I remember it was her and then a taxi behind her. But you see that? Let me make it, see if I can make it bigger. No, it won't give it. Okay, view image. Okay, that's all that they have there. Okay, so you see, that's a young girl. But this movie was never saying that it's about pedophilia. If she's 13 years old, okay, we're the same age. And when she started this movie, it was never touted as pedophilia. You're having sex with a 13-year-old? And this movie is in 1976. Okay? Let me go back. Okay? Let's see here. Yeah. So it's really something. See, it's 76. So why? So what I'm getting at also here is that It's conditioning your thinking. Your thinking is being taught that, okay, I had this, yeah, your thinking is being taught that this isn't pedophilia, okay? Okay, King Ra is saying our culture is different than theirs. Okay, definitely, yeah. But what I'm saying here is that it's a culture that's being taught to the masses. So whether it's of your culture or not, it's being introduced to you as mainstream culture, and that it is acceptable, and that they're teaching that it's acceptable to have sex with this person because she's a prostitute. But this is an underage girl. So how come it wasn't any media cry about young girls being prostituted? See, they used the term prostitute rather than human trafficked. Human trafficking. All that again, she's underage, so this is, what do you call, pedophilia. Pedophilia. That's what it is. That's what it is. Jodie Foster's movie is about that. It's pedophilia, and just using her as a backdrop. That is totally acceptable. Really weird. Okay, let me find the next thing here. Let me see here. Okay. Okay. I'm just finding. Okay, this is another movie that came out when I was a young girl. Okay, this movie is from 1977. Okay, I used to be a David Soul fan. I was probably his biggest. I laugh at it now. I was probably one of his biggest fans. I used to watch the show Starsky and Hutch, and this movie came on television. Yeah, okay, made for TV. Okay, Little Ladies of the Night is a 1977 American made-for-television drama film starring David Soul, Lou Gossett Jr., and Linda Pearl. When it was broadcast, it became the highest-rated TV movie of all time. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was the highest-rated TV movie of all time. Yeah, I remember. Oh, brother, I remember this movie. This guy here is David Soul. I used to be a David Soul fan. Yes, I was just a teenage girl. I didn't know my head from my elbow. Yeah, I grew up under television. Yeah, I was really brainwashed about a lot of things. Okay, look at this. Oh, let's see about the girl, how old the girl was. Let's see. I'm going to press on this Little Ladies of the Night Wikipedia. Okay. Okay, look at that. Okay, I'm just seeing anything here. Okay. Wow, it was the highest rated program of its night with a 36.9 rating and 53% share. Wow, so it had over half of the viewership. Boy, I remember this. I remember watching it. Okay, let me go back up. Okay. So, and look at the names of the people who write it. Notice the names also. See, my doing this video also is to see what kind of comes up. Notice the names, the surnames of the people, so indicate their ethnicity/nationality. So it's written by this person here. See that name? And it's directed by this person. Okay. I was hoping to see, let me go back. I was hoping to see something with the girl, how old the girl was. Okay, her acting is, okay, let's see. Let me read that. I want to try to find out if they give the age of the girl. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, oh, these are reviews. Let me see what this review is about. This was a pretty disturbing TV movie about a young girl who runs away from home and is forced into a life of prostitution. Okay, I saw this when I was in high school and I was really surprised about how graphic it was. It wouldn't be made, oh, it wouldn't be made today. Okay. Yeah, for me, when I watched it, it was drama, but I didn't see it as reality. I just took it as what do you call it, like entertainment. Because the actor I knew from another movie, Starsky and Hutch, and it's all drama, just make believe. Let's see. I think it says here, who really shines is, okay, she's a 15-year-old here, 15-year-old hooker, according to this. Okay, so that's a minor. Okay, so I'm emphasizing that here you have pop culture movies, pop culture of its day, and again, this movie came out in 1977. I remember it. Boy, I remember it, man. Yeah. But yeah, this was a teenage girl. And most prostitutes that you in these movies are all teenage girls. The same age as Jeffrey Epstein's girls that he targeted. Okay? All underage girls. But it never addresses the issue that they're underage and that it's pedophilia. Why isn't that? Because they're sugarcoating it and making it acceptable for men, primarily men are the customers, to have sex with this because it's okay because she's just a prostitute. And prostitutes don't have real rights because they're not real people. That's their mindset. But these girls are human beings, and many of these girls are forced out of their homes. Maybe they're being abused at home, and so they leave. But unfortunately, when they leave, they're preyed upon by older people, and they force it. And that's what this movie's about. Her introduction. This girl started out as a good from a upper middle class white home, and she had education. She leaves home because there was some conflict with the mother. And this guy kind of sweet-talked her and said he loved her. And then he beat her up after he got her trust. And then he put fear in her. I remember that. Yeah, it was a good movie. It might be considered outdated now, but of its time, it was very entertaining, I thought. Okay, let me show you the next one. So that was 1977. This one is in next year, 1978. See, people forgot. See, a lot of people forgot about all this. See, I didn't forget. Because, see, this was during my, I was just coming of age, my body was, maturing. I was a young girl. And at this time, they were showing and sexualizing young girls. And I was a young girl at the time. Okay, this is a movie called Pretty Baby. Okay, it's a film. And who does it star? Do any of you recognize the girl? Any of you? Okay, I'm 2 years older than her about. But do any of you know who this girl is? Okay? I know you have to know who she is. or maybe it's just a different generation that's watching this live stream. But anyway, I'll tell you who she is. She is Brooke Shields. See that? Let me roll it up. This movie, Pretty Baby, is starring Brooke Shields, as you see here. Okay? That is Brooke Shields. Okay, she was a very, very popular model, extremely popular of the day. She was in pop culture through the modeling with commercials and stuff. Okay. Let me see what else here. Okay, let me just see what okay. Brooke Krista Shields is an American actress and model. She was initially a child model and gained critical acclaim at age 12 for her leading role in Louis Malle's film Pretty Baby, in which she played a child prostitute in New Orleans at the beginning of the 20th century, etc. Okay? Okay, you saw that? So here, okay, 12 years old, and I didn't even come of age at 12 years of age, with, my body. And here's somebody to gauge in activity with a child is extremely offensive to me. Extremely offensive. I hope you guys can hear me out there in the chat. Just let me know that if you can hear me and you understand where I'm coming from with all this. Okay, this is your pop culture. This is the pop culture that I was raised in. Coming of age in the 1970s when all these movies were coming out. All of them. It's in the 1970s. It's right after, the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War seemed to push in a lot of drugs and sex movies. Like even the movie that I told you about, Starsky and Hutch, that movie's about two cops. And then it featured they were in a city, a large city, and the informant was what they call a pimp. And he dressed in the garb of the day of the stereotype black man pimping women. Okay, the 1970s was very, very biased against black people. And it put us in an extremely negative light. It always showed us as drug addicts, prostitutes, and pimps. That was the 1970s. And this was right after the Vietnam War. Okay, so it's brainwashing the people into a thought pattern and what's acceptable, and brainwashing to make you want to be that. So this movie, Pretty Baby, is desensitizing people to think it's okay to have a little girl that's being sexualized. In the movie, Pretty Baby. Okay, and she's only 12 years old. Okay, I hope I'm making myself clear here. Okay, so that's it. And the makeup and everything. Okay, that's all okay. So it came out in April 5th in the US in 1978. So I was about, 15 going on 16. So I was 15 years old. Okay, so I was a child. I was a teenager. Okay, so here, this is pop culture. This is the framework of how things are happening now with Jeffrey Epstein. It's desensitizing the public to think it's okay to do what you're doing and to overlook it because these are just prostitutes. Not that these are children being trafficked and pedophilia. If you have sex with this girl, a 12-year-old, you are a pedophile, right? but you just say, oh, it's just a prostitute. Even with Jeffrey Epstein, when he got arrested, was that 11 or 12 years ago? He was arrested, there were two things that he was arrested for. One is solicitation of a prostitute. The second was solicitation of an underage prostitute. Okay, those were the two things, and he only did 13 months of time in prison. Okay, now the problem with those with those two things he was sentenced for, was that, see, there's a difference between when you say solicitation. When you say you solicit, it just means that, hey, could I have this? I'm willing to pay you such and such. Okay, that's soliciting. But that's not having sex. Having sex and soliciting for sex are two separate things. So he's not admitting that he had sex with an underage girl. He got arrested for solicitation. And you notice with a lot of things, the human language is being used craftily. Listen, this is a very important message. Listen very, very carefully how people word things, and you're going to learn a lot about them. People use terms and they twist it, and what they're really saying is not what you think that they're saying or meaning. And people are lying to you through it. You have to really start listening what people say. Okay? So he got arrested and did time for soliciting. Not for having sex with the underage girl, but for soliciting. Okay? So the pop culture is teaching that, oh, it's okay. She got makeup on. They're sexualizing little girls. Let me show the next page. Now this is another, okay, now this is going way back also, okay. This is the model Brooke Shields. Now Brooke Shields, she was so extremely popular. Like you have Beyonce, okay, you all heard of Beyonce, right? Well, back in the early 1980s, you had Brooke Shields, who was just as popular in pop culture as you have Beyonce, the singer Beyonce of today. She was that popular, and she was underage. Brooke Shields, as I said, was a model. She modeled. She was known for, she got her introduction through modeling, and her mother then put her in movies. Okay, now this is the famous commercial. I'm not going to play it, but this here, you can just see, the picture of her. Okay, she has her legs open, and she's very popular. She always had a lot of makeup on, this model. And again, she's underage. She's about 14, 15 here. No, maybe 15, 16, but she's still underage. And the video says, what gets between me and my Calvins? And then her reply to that question was nothing. See, it's all about it was, things back then was heavily suggestible, heavily suggested, sexually heavy suggested. And interesting that it was so sexually suggestive, but it was put out there as it was nothing, and we all knew she was underage. Brooke Shields at that time was introduced as a little girl who dresses and put on makeup. And so it's like a wall that it's all play acting. It's all play. So you get what I'm saying? That it's all about getting enticed and saying, teaching people that this is okay to see little girls as sexual objects and something as graphic as this. You see what I'm looking at? Her legs is wide open and it's very sexually suggestive. And what's funny about this then young girl, minor, that a couple of years later, her mother puts in a lawsuit against this photographer for publishing these photographs. Now, the photograph is of this girl when she was about 10, 11 years old, in a bathtub, standing in a bathtub with suds all over, and showing her private parts and her breasts. And she had heavy makeup on. And when Brooke Shields got into movies in the early 1980s, the photographer decided, oh, well, she's popular now. I'm going to publish these pictures when she wasn't known. But the mother allowed the photographer to do this. And so she goes to court, and the judge said, you put it out like that. I think they lost the case. But I'm not definitive about that, so that's something that I have to research. But I remember the judge saying that here your daughter is blessed with good genes, putting a plain words with jeans meaning the pants, dungaree jeans. But I thought it was a joke. The mother had her in all the movies back then. It was very sexual, the movies. And so it's really introducing the American public that it's okay to sexualize teenage girls, and they're just playing, put on play makeup. It's just play makeup. It's all fantasy. It's not real. No, it's real. This is real. And this was the pop culture I was raised in. I was just I graduated from high school in 1980. And so see this is 1981. Okay? Yeah, I remember it. Okay, let me show you something else now. You know who this is. You all know who this is. This is Shirley Temple. But this year, the name Shirley Temple has a new meaning for me now. The name Shirley Temple, I saw a video that discussed about Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple was a very, very famous child actress. She's known for the curly hair, you see? Curly top. Okay? But look at this. The first movie that she was in that I can find, look at this. Baby Burlesque. Okay? 1932. Baby Burlesque. And so I asked so this movie that I saw about her, about the type of movies, for the first time that I heard this being referred to her, that she was sexually exploited. I never saw this as her, that she was being sexualized. See, I was so brainwashed by the culture. See, I already showed you the different movies, that it's okay because it's all make-believe. It's all grown, playing grown up with makeup, and you know how little girls like to play with makeup. Okay, this is how I saw it as. Playing makeup, playing adult, but not real. But no, this is real. This is real. And I watched Shirley Temple movies when I was a young girl. But the movie I saw on YouTube about Shirley Temple was suggesting, not just suggesting, but saying that the movies that she was in is really about older men having a thing for little girls. I never saw it like that because I was so culturally brainwashed to see her in the movies that she's in. I was totally brainwashed. But look at that, baby burlesque. Burlesque means it's prostitutes. A prostitute, and they wear this costume. But this, she's only 4 years old. 4 years old. And the video that I saw on YouTube discussing Shirley Temple mentioned that in most of the scenes that you see her, she's always with an older guy in their 40s, 50s, 60s, all up, and they're touching and all kissing. Oh, brother! So when the movie was showing it, I was getting sick. I felt sick watching because I never realized what was being done. See, when you see things with clean eyes, you see things clean until someone shows you what's really going on. So her first movie, and this is during what they call the Depression era. It started in 1929. So now, people want to get relief from poverty and everything. So they're watching a little girl to distract them. But look what they're distracting themselves with. Baby burlesque. This is child pornography. See, we're not saying it. This is, cut it out. My little doggy making noise. This is child pornography. Child pornography. Okay, let me see what else here. Okay. There was something I know I wanted to watch. Okay. I know there was something here I wanted to show you. I'm just scrolling down. Let's see what it says here about her. Her name is Shirley Temple Black. That's her marriage name, Black. She got married and had children. Okay, she was an American actress, singer. Most of Shirley Temple films were inexpensively made at $200,000. Okay. Comedy dramas, song and dance. Okay. Okay, that wasn't that. Let me go on the next tab. So I just wanted to show you who Shirley Temple was. Okay. And there are other things that sexualized her. Let me see. See, that always touching. They always have a touching, and she'd be in touch by adult men. Oh, this was a sexual movie, Wee Willie Winky. Okay, I think it made mention about that movie. But for those who don't know, a willy is a British term meaning a man's wee-wee, a man's penis. Just letting you know. And this one also, Baby Take a Bow. Okay, 1934. So she was just a little girl. She's about maybe 5 years old. 5 or 6 year old at that time. Okay? Yeah, she did many, many, many movies. And she was the face for, to help you forget about your problems because there's a lot of poverty at that time. But men. She was always around men. Okay, let me show you the next tab. Okay, this is also on Shirley Temple. Okay, I'm a Little Sex Pot, Short and Stout, Shirley Temple and Graham Greene. Okay, Let me read this. I hope you guys are following along. I know I didn't mean this video to be long, but I like to be thorough. Okay? Let me read this. Shirley Temple's movie studio, 20th Century Fox, successfully sued author Graham Greene for libel when he described her in a 1937 review of Wee Willie Winkie as a fancy little piece. Her neat and well-developed rump twisted in the tap dance. Her eyes had a sidelong searching coquetry. Watch the way she measures a man with agile studio eyes with dimpled depravity. Oh wow. This is the first time I'm reading that. When I wrote about Shirley Temple Black in 1989 on the publication of her best-selling autobiography, Child Star, I was shocked that anyone could label her a Totsy. Every weekend of my young childhood, her movies beamed out from the tiny black and white set my mom had in the living room of our shabby apartment. I was deeply in love with the little girl who was portrayed by Shirley Temple. Let me read on. Shirley was everything I wanted to be, starting with the fact that she usually played an orphan, cast loose from adults. She freely chose her companions from rogues, sailors, gamblers, soldiers, and down at heels vaudevillains. These ruffians got her into one fix after another, but with pluck and charm she got out of every scrap. When I read Greene's review in '89, I was sure he had been joking. How could anyone accuse my sweet Shirley of coquetry? Okay, coquetry means to be flirtatious, particularly if his example was Wee Willie Winkie, where Shirley played a brave little girl in the British Raj. Okay, they talk about here in she was a 4-year-old in Baby Burlesque. Okay, so children back in the day was being sexualized. And if you go on YouTube, I remember seeing other things on YouTube with her, but I'm not going to show that. But I'm just trying to make my point that you have children who are being sexualized, but you don't realize they're being sexualized. But it's to desensitize you to think that it's okay, and that the younger they are, the more acceptable it becomes. But it's not okay. Because again, fast forward 2019 with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, what was he? Okay, where's that thing with Epstein now? Okay, as we see here with Jeffrey Epstein, what is he? He was a convicted sex offender. And I also said that they used the term American financier, but what did he finance? He didn't finance anything really. Okay, I showed you that already. Showed you that. Okay, so this is again this is about Jodie Foster poster. So as you see here in our pop culture, let me go back. Okay, so you see here in pop culture how people, how young girls are being viewed, that you're becoming desensitized about how women are addressed, and that they're getting younger and younger. And that I mentioned about not only with television and the movies, such as with Jodie Foster or Brooke Shields or Shirley Temple Black, that They were in mainstream Hollywood movies of its day, and that it's overlooking that they're underage girls, and that, to use the term prostitute, seems to be like, oh well, she's dirty now because she's a prostitute. It's like removing yourself, that the person who's having sex with this person is not the criminal, but she's a criminal because she's a prostitute. And not saying that, hey, he's the person that's buying sex from an underage little girl, teenager. So I'm doing this video. I know it's a long video, but it's really about awakening us all about what's happening today. That you have a pop culture that's glamorizing you to accept that it's okay to have sex with minors, rather than saying for what it is. This is pedophilia. This is pedophilia. This is pedophilia. And that the case with Jeffrey Epstein, it's going to be a time, let's say 1 or 2 more weeks from now, you probably will not hear anything more about Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? You're not going to really hear, you're not going to really hear anything about him. So what's going to happen? You're going to have people who are going to be trafficked. You're going to have male and female, young people, underage people who are being trafficked. You have, it's international, as you saw with some of the movies that I mentioned. You had, a lot of them are from Asia, East Asia, South Asia. And it's catering to men's taste, men's depravity in thinking that it's okay to get engaged with sexual activity with a minor. But because her status is prostitute, think of that, let me back up a little bit now. Look at the term slave. So you say, oh, that person's a slave. You pretty much dismiss the person, and you associate slavery with black people, and don't care about them because that's their status. But these are human beings that are being trafficked. So instead of using the word slave, that you are being human trafficked. You're being kidnapped. You're being violated. So when you say the term prostitute or slave, you're using a social term that diminishes the victim. And it's saying because they have that status of slave or prostitute, that they no longer are humane, no longer human. But these are human. And the people who are being inhuman are those people who have sex with these young children, with these underage children. Those are the people who are inhumane. Those people who enslave, those people are inhumane. So we need to bring it back to what it is, and stop using euphemisms, these euphemism terms, such as, oh, he's a financier. And I went on the internet to find out what he financed. I couldn't find anything that he's financed, but I heard something once that he donated money to Harvard University, some program thing, and he's something about he's getting involved with human genetics, and it was said that he was to impregnate 20 females or 20 young women at a time with his genetics. So it might have been a genetic program. Okay, why? See, this is the real story. Women's bodies are being used for a variety of things, and also mentioned in this video about the super soldiers, and that I had interviewed this man by the name of Tony Rodriguez. It was a 4-hour interview I did with him last year, and you can find it on my channel. You just type in the name Tony Rodriguez, and what he talked about was that He was kidnapped as a child. I think it was 9 years of age when he was first kidnapped. He was sexually tortured, starved, and then he was to do slave work. And according to him, that there is a secret space program, and he was forced to work in different colonies that's out in space. And also, President Trump has made mention that he's going to be implementing, I think he said in 2 years' time, this Space Force. The Space Force is about going on to these other planets. Well, they're already there, according to the person I interviewed and many, many people that you see on YouTube. If you type in the term super soldier or secret space program, all of them seem to start out in being sex trafficked. All of them. And some of them are dead. Max Spears, the guy Max Spears, he died. I think he died in 2016. And he was one of the first people I heard about on the genre super soldiers and secret space program, and with using the implant, when they put implants in the body. So it's a big, it seems like what's going on is really it's like a dot within a whole spectrum of stuff that's going on. And Jeffrey Epstein is just a tip of the iceberg. There's something really, really deep in this whole thing. But what I want to stress again with all this is to stop desensitizing that those are prostitutes or slaves. These are victims who have no rights, who are being trafficked. That means they're being kidnapped, tortured, put into horrendous situations. And whether these prostitutes are being used for the rich or a poor person, the outcome is still the same. It's destroying human lives, and how could society really grow with that type of undercurrent going on? So that's all that I could think of saying in all this. I know I covered a lot, but I wanted to be thorough and really address this pop culture. Again, I was only going to talk about Jodie Foster, Brooke Shields, and Shirley Temple, but I wanted to really show a whole spectrum of the things that's going on in today. Okay? So, I hope you enjoyed this live stream. You could, watch it in bits and pieces if you don't have time to watch everything about it. But it's for your edification as well. It's something that is to teach you to look with open eyes to find out what's really going on. And people are being brainwashed to think that certain things are okay. And that people like Epstein, let me show his face again. Let me show his face again. Let me find him. Okay, this face that you see here, okay, this is a pimp. This is what a pimp looked like. And yet, even though he gained, it seems to suggest, with all this activity that he has, that this money that he has, $577 million, was obtained through illicit activities, okay? This is pimp money. And again, what is a pimp? Well, let me show you. Pimp, a man who controls prostitutes and arranges clients for them, taking part of their earnings in return. Okay? So, when you see Jeffrey Epstein, even though they said that he committed suicide, and then some people out there are suggesting that he's faked his death and he's living somewhere else. It's all possible. It could be possible. But one thing, what they never address him being is a pimp. They call him a financier. And so if you type in the term financier, you see all those people that I showed you wearing suits and ties. So it's bringing respectability to what this man actually is, a pimp. But they want you to see pimp as this. See if I can find it. Let me show you again. Okay, this is what they want you to see a pimp as. But they're not going to tell you that. They don't want you to think that. Okay, let's see what else here. Yeah. This is what they want you to see as a pimp. These type of figures. And there was something else. Oh, I hope I can find it. There was something else I saw that's to stress my point. Hope I can find it. Oh, brother. This is not that. There's something that I saw. Oh, brother. I might have accidentally... Shoot. I might have accidentally deleted it. Yeah. I must have accidentally deleted it. Yeah, when I typed in this phrase, and they had a whole slew of, boy, I wish I could find, let me see if I can find it. Okay, let me, because it's really telling. Oh, I think this might, was this it? Let me see here. Maybe if I make a bit, let me just see something. Oh, okay. I see what happened. Okay, I found the page, but I have to blow up the page. Let me see. I'm going to blow up the page on the so you can see the guys. I hope you can see it. Let me switch over again. Okay. So you can only see if I blow it up. Let me make it bigger. I hope you can see this now. Now on this page, they show, okay, I really hope you can see it. Oh, brother, oops. Accidentally pressed. Sorry. Oops, I just lost it. Oh, I lost the page. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry about that. I clicked on something by accident. But I hope you saw part of it before I accidentally hit something. Well, it showed, it was that movie page, and on the extreme sides of it, they showed a whole, looked like mugshots, and all of them were black men. All of them. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, what? I thought it was so pejorative. Boy, I accidentally deleted it. Yeah. So Hollywood shows you one thing, what pimps look like. But as I showed you in this live stream, what this pimp looks like. Okay? And so Hollywood wants you to think a pimp can only be one type of thing, but reality is showing you what a pimp that deals with governments, what they're about, and what they look like, and what they do with their money. And if you look on Jeffrey Epstein's property, it's really questionable what is being done on his property. It looks like a temple. is, let me see about his house. Let me see. Jeffrey Epstein Temple. Let's see. Okay, let me show you that. Okay, as you see here, Jeffrey Epstein's temple, what does this look like? You don't think with a temple, you don't think he's doing some type of ritual there? You don't think so? What else here? Okay. I believe they're doing rituals in this place. And then there was supposed to be, there was a fire. I think they said on 2 occasions, it was a massive fire. So what it looks like, what's happening, maybe they're destroying evidence. So these girls are being trafficked and being brought here to some temple. So these modern day pimps of Jeffrey Epstein's kind, are doing things with these girls. And you know what else? Let me see if I can find something else. Because they found something else on his property. This dentistry thing. Let me see. Jeffrey Epstein dental equipment. Okay, most bizarre things about sex trafficking case. Okay. Okay, dentistry. Let me see. Okay. Okay, it says, oh brother. Here are the most important things about wealthy financiers. See, they call him a financier, but nothing about financing. Jeffrey Epstein and his alleged sex trafficking operation. Okay, no thanks. Sorry about that. It was something about the... I want to find the thing about the dentistry. Where did that thing? Okay, that's his Palm Beach home. Okay, about the temple here. Where is it? I'm trying to find the thing with the dentistry. He had dental equipment. Okay, they broke in this house. Okay. Okay, it just says here. Okay, there's a massage chair in the bathroom where women allege Epstein coerced them into sex acts, according to the Miami Herald, along with what appears to be dentistry equipment. You hear that? And someone brought out what could be used with dentistry. I'm sure, I don't get the impression that he's just hygienic, okay? If you have these girls and you trying to hide the girl's identity, you alter their teeth. Like let's say you kill them or you pull their teeth out. So they can't be detected by dentistry, because when you have a dead body, they sometimes are able to get the identity of the girl, of the person, of the corpse, through their dental work. Okay, so if you alter their dentistry, you can alter their identity, so you can find out who it is. See that? You see that? This is really deep. Oops, sorry. Okay. So this is what I want to share with you guys, and that this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing is really about manipulating the way you think and view pedophilia, to code it in a way of saying prostitute, rather pedophilia. You're underage, you're a little girl, you're 12 years old, that is pedophilia. And we should protect these young girls and demand that, these people who produce this type of culture, who promoting this type of lifestyle, that is okay to do this, call them out for what they are. Okay? So if anyone doesn't have any questions to ask me, if you have any questions, you can write in the chat room. And again, I thank you all for taking the time to watch this live stream, and definitely, share this video with friends, your family members. You can comment below. Each one teach one. Let me know what you think. Other insights, things that you think I could have included in this live stream on this topic. You could also, let me see here. Okay, let me show you here. Yeah, as I say here, you can like, share, subscribe, and this is my contact information that you can see here. If you want to contact me over email, my contact information is spiritofazalea@gmail.com. And I have a donation page also. I have a PayPal me account. And my PayPal me is right over here, paypal.me, Spirit Journey. And you just go to that site and you just select what's in your heart to share. Okay? So I thank you again for listening, for sharing in the chat room. And again, after this video uploads, you can watch. If you missed much of this live stream, you can, after, you could look at it and, put it on reverse, put it back to the beginning and watch from the beginning. So what I was talking about. Yeah, so that's about it. So again, I thank you for your time with me on this live stream. Again, I try to be as thorough as possible. Each one teach one. And if you could support my channel, Spirit Journey, you can do so. And whatever what you give, any amount that you give is appreciated. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for watching and sharing on my channel. So take care, be aware, be awake, and don't let them deceive you about the terminologies that they use to describe someone. That man is a pimp. Okay? He's a glamorized pimp and a liar and a deceiver. Okay? In my opinion. Okay? So you guys take care and enjoy the rest of your day, and have a wonderful weekend if I don't hear from you guys. Bye-bye.